What do you do anyway?
I'm a writer, I guess.
Yes, don't you know?
You get 2 sheets every Saturday. You put the clean sheet in the top sheet in the bottom sheet you turn in the laundry board. Any man turns in the wrong sheet spends the night in the box. Which no one will sit in the bunks with dirty pants on. Any man with dirty pants on sitting on the bunk spends the night in the box. Any man don't bring back his empty pop bottle spends the night in the box. Any man loud talking spends the night in the box.
I think that liner right there alone has told me why I am who I am. I want to go back to Cool Hand Luke days. That's my dream. I don't know if you ever watched it. Shannon watched the majority of the middle. Have you ever watched Cool Hand Luke, the movie?
No.
Oh, no. Oh, man. See, I was funny as a dad as I grew with 3 boys. As they start getting older, and I said, hey, we never watched this and this together. They come home now, and it's old movie week, so they can kind of find out. It's like, oh, man, Cool Hand Luke. You don't understand that reference.
We have a thing called required watching. And
he
would make us watch all the movie. And so I have seen most of the movies. But Cool Hand Luke is one that I haven't seen. So
great movie. All the great lines that come out of the movie. But yeah. I'm in a horrible place today. Probably God put you, Shannon Watson, on my show today so that you can help talk me off the ledge.
Okay. Cool.
I'm in an old man mood. I don't like being old, and I thought I was pretty hip and cool. I suppose most old men do until this week. I've just been hit on the head with, could you all just leave things alone until I die, and then you can do what you want to the world? Here's my thing. I get up this morning, and the paper reads that the Supreme Court, and I guess I could pull it up, basically the Supreme Court said, we really can't describe what lewd is. We'll know it when we see it, but we can't describe it, so women now are allowed to throw the junk out there and wander around as long as they do not do it in a lewd way. Why? Good God, why? And it says that the article is great for Star Trip. Basically, it's like an 1885 law. 1885 people. We came up with this law, stole a bunch of it from New York's law that had the lewd and mischievous behavior, whatever in the world.
Right.
So we took it. So it's only worked well for what would that be? 140 years. We've been able to decide that women would keep themselves closed and everything's good. But now some lady in Rochester at a Quick Trip throws her shirt up. Cops say you can't do that. She gets an argument about being a stripper. I don't know if she's a stripper or not. Gets an argument about it, and she wants to prove points. She does it 2 more times. 3rd time, they finally arrest her and said, hey, you just can't do this. It's the Quick Trip.
Okay.
This woman, and if she's a stripper, even more. This would make a great movie. She takes us all the way to the Supreme Court. Other courts have said, no, you keep them wrapped up. But the Supreme Court, she takes it all the way, and the Minnesota Supreme Court.
Yes.
It's just so hard to tell what her intentions were with her breasts out that we just can't hold it against her. So now, as long as you do it with the right intent, it isn't a sexual thing. It's just...
Right. You're just walking around with the girls out. You're okay.
Okay, and so at the same time, and this is why everything comes ahead for me today, Bobby Joe Champion at the same time yesterday, his ethics thing goes through. And I'm telling you, and I like Bobby Joe. We're tight. That's why I call him Bobby Joe. I don't know that anything he did deserves any penalty. He should have, in my book, said, hey, guys, I work for these guys pro bono, but I still think it's a great program. They need the $3 million. And they had all 3 legs of the stool. The money was going to go. No harm, no foul. He just lays it out there. Now we're playing by the rules, if you will. This 4-person panel, 2 on each side, basically came out and said, our law is a little hard to understand. Maybe we don't know. We are not going to do anything. I'm not asking to do anything except clarify, you know what? If you're going to work for somebody, pro bono or not, let the rest of us know. Then we're all fine. I don't ask Bobby Joe to get slapped on the wrist. Nothing. But these guys can't even come up and say anything more than, the rule's a little murky. What? It's like, are the breasts in or the out? I mean, some things we know.
Okay. All right. So
unpack that for me.
To be cranky about, and I will, I've known you for a little while, Al, and so I'm a little worried about you. Not necessarily because you're cranky about rules and things, but you're in opposition to women walking around with the girls hanging out. So I'm a little worried about your
Now,
health.
let us clarify. If all things were the same, if all things were level and it was the same, I'm all for it. This does not offend Al. It's kind of like the marijuana. Don't you smoke it, go do your thing. You want them out there, I'll be looking. I'm going to be out. I'll be looking. I don't want my children or my children's children to grow up that we just got to stop sexualizing people. Can we just have something that's...
Maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's part of the Supreme Court's thing, which I will say, I haven't read the decision. I didn't watch that particular argument. But maybe that is part of it, is that, we're just making a differentiation between just what bodies look like and then what bodies look like sort of in a sexual manner. I will say, there are a lot of things, how there's like a really fun party question, what's the thing that you would do if it wasn't illegal that you won't do because it's illegal? There's a lot of stuff that I do. I'm kind of a goody two shoes. There's a lot of stuff that I don't do because it's illegal. There's a lot of stuff that I'm still not going to do if it is legal. Walking around with the girls out, I am on the nope, no way, nope, sorry. Not something that I'm going to do, mainly because I'm 50 years old and it's not really the aesthetic thing that we're going for anymore. Let me put it that way.
Well, let's just say we're all married to each other in some sort of way, not technically married, but married in the sense that we're all in the same community. Was it yesterday, Saturday, Sunday, one of these days? I'm going to go out and work in the yard.
Yeah.
I know it's going to get on I put my bib overalls on, which evidently is currently in a phase of maybe not being cool, but it was really warm. So I put a tank top. I put a tank top on under it because it got a little sun. My wife, literally on my way out, she goes, "You're wearing that?" I'm like, "I'm doing yard work. Who cares?" She goes, "Neighbors, people drive by." I literally get questioned by wearing clothes, and you're going to throw it out there that, well, depending on your intention to why you're like that. No, we need norms.
Well, and okay, so that goes actually back to your point about Bobby Joe Champion and the ethics committee. I will say, okay, so that was a 2-part hearing yesterday. I watched the first part. I had to miss the second part because I had a meeting, so I have to catch up on that. But one of the things that I thought was super interesting about that hearing, the first thing that was interesting was those senators are going with what is currently in law, what the legal definition of conflict of interest is, and what norm there is for the Senate. And one of the points that Bobby Joe Champion made during the hearing was, it's not actually fair to punish me for something that's not actually I followed the rule. You're talking about something that's sort of above and beyond what our standard is. And if that is something that needs to change, we can get into that debate. But sort of retroactively applying a rule that's not actually a rule to his situation is not actually fair. And that's true. Senator Miller, one of the Republicans on the committee, said that he doesn't think that Bobby Joe Champion did anything wrong. And he thinks that we should, look at this a little different way, and we should sort of revisit. So, I do think that this is going to be the start of a bigger conversation about what does it mean.
You're so living Pollyanna up there still. Stop it. This is going nowhere. You know what? They like the ambiguity. We've had Minnesota for a long time. The idea that we don't know yet whether, well, it was kind of pro bono free. I don't care. My point is, I don't think he did anything wrong. He would have got it anyway. So you say, Bobby Joe, it's 4-0. We're going to say, just so the world knows from here on out, even if it's pro bono work, even if you got nothing out of it, if you're going to put something in for a friend, someone you know, and that's the reason you're doing this, let us know. Changes nothing. Raise your hand, by the way. And that's what we're going to go from now on. And if we have to make a rule, then we'll do it. But they're not going to make a rule. They like this ambiguity.
They might. Yeah. This is a bigger conversation for the interim. And this is there is a rules committee. The subcommittee on ethics is part of the rules committee. But I do think that the way that the thing was deadlocked, it wasn't that 2 people thought he should be punished and 2 people thought he didn't. It was, they had 3 different motions. They didn't 100% agree on all the things. And that's one of the good things about the ethics committee, is that it is evenly split, no matter what the majority makeup is in the Senate. It is evenly split between the majority and the minority. And if they don't agree, then they don't agree. And it's not like people get punished
I would
for something. That,
we use punish. I don't know what the punishment is. Like you say, he didn't break a law, but we didn't clarify anything yesterday other than that the law sucks. Okay, that's what we're going with. Because here's my thing. When's the last time with a split ethics committee anyone ever got in trouble? Actually got in trouble. We're literally sitting with the senator, whether she's innocent or not. I have no idea. Did she do something unbecoming? Well, we're not going to decide that right now. She's got a trial. We don't decide anything.
There was a senator in 23 or 24 who did get sort of an official reprimand and got training on social media usage.
Okay, well, forget everything I just said. Then we're going somewhere. I got to go to break. Here's the last thing on the not knowing whether the ladies are hanging out for the right reasons or not. This is the same group that will not be able to tell us who boys and girls are anyway. The next thing that comes up, and I guarantee, mark my words, within 5 years, some gentleman is going to do his version of the junk being out and say, you can't treat me different than women. And they're going to say, oh, that's true. If it's out there, as long as he wasn't doing it lewdly, this is a downhill slope.
It's like above the waist and below the waist. And, as much as your wife would protest, you could legally walk around in your front yard doing your yard work without your tank top. And it would be fine. Now, in the Supreme Court, I or your wife or anybody else could walk around in that same set of undress and it would be fine. And that's fairness. That's equality under the law.
Yeah. You wait. Some guy's going to say, I don't have that junk. I got this junk and I want to show my junk, but I don't want to do it lewdly. Okay, you can't say. We're just down a slope. There's no reason for the slope. Stop the slope. Don't move the ball anymore until Al passes. Once I pass, everything you want, go do it. I got to be back after this. More right after this.
There are many ways to explore Alexandria.
Still taping, but I'll bet you weren't thinking you were going to talk about this today.
You know what?
Others like to explore downtown in the warm comfort of a boutique or gathered around a table with friends. You can do all of that or relax and do nothing at all. Come explore Alexandria. Start planning at explorealex.com.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
don't need to ask him his opinion more than once. Al Travis on The Al Travis Show.
And we've got her, Shannon Watson, with Majority in the Middle, and we appreciate her being on the program. Let me ask you. So we sit here, and amongst full-grown adults, we can't decide, well, whether we should or should not, this ethics with Bobby Joe. Fine. We can have, grown-ups can discuss it. Again, I don't want anything to happen to him. I don't think anything happenable offense happened.
Yeah.
But if we can't even agree on that, you know what, bad law, we're going to change this right now. I think Bobby Joe, the first thing he should do today is go in and write a rule that says any whatever, and he's a lawyer, he can write a nice little law that says this is our new rule. Let's vote on it and get it done today. That would be huge. But these people can't decide on this. You tell me, Shannon, what in the world are the odds in 10 days this group of knuckleheads will get a budget of $70 billion done?
You know what's super interesting? So one of the things that that Senate rules and House rules and the customs and the traditions and all of the things that sort of govern the way they run, those actually aren't laws. Those are just rules, and it's set amongst themselves. I don't think they're going to do it today, not because they don't have agreement, because it's not appropriate to sort of put the budget on the back seat while they talk about the rules. I do think that interim between legislative sessions is the appropriate time to do that. And I can pretty much guarantee you, based on people that I've talked to, like, this is going to be a conversation. Because in like, there's the rules, there's the law, like what you're supposed to do. But then there's also some, like, this, the acknowledgement that perception is reality in politics. And if your constituents think that you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, then that's a problem.
Ethics are different, though. Let me ask you this, in your own opinion, if what was going on with Senator Mitchell were going on, but the numbers were 40 to whatever number, 33, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
40. If it was just outlandishly more Democrats than Republicans.
Yeah.
Would we still have an ethics issue where we could not decide if what she is accused of is ethically not what a senator should be doing? I think it would be different, and ethics shouldn't be like that.
I would agree with you.
But I hear a butt coming.
And the precedent of the ethics committee not weighing in before a criminal court weighs in when there are those situations, those things have come up a lot and over the history of the Senate. And in no situation has the Senate Ethics Committee ever made a ruling before, like an official ruling, before a criminal court has. Now, the difference in this particular situation, I believe, in most of those cases, people have done, in my opinion, the right thing and resigned their seat.
Well, you see.
So this is not, like, that's the thing. Some of that is up to the individual who is currently having the situation.
I understand.
And so the Senate, there's only so much they can do because they don't really necessarily want to get involved in it.
I understand, but if the worst came happened, they said she's no longer a senator, she's still got her day in court, that doesn't matter. Let me do this. I only got a minute, and I want to do it. You did a major overhaul of Majority in the Middle. You went through I even actually took a little test. I don't like tests, by the way, but you gave a little test, answered the test, and you've made some improvements, some changes. Tell us about that quickly in the last minute. Yeah,
so we revamped our membership program. We're doing a membership drive right now. There were a couple of changes that we made, and some of them are really silly. This is kind of inside baseball. So, like, the names of the different levels of membership are different now. The major thing that we changed was there were a significant number of people who would tell me over the last 20 some months that we've had the membership program, is that I would love to be a member, but you list all of your members on your website, and for whatever reason, their job, their elected office, whatever, like, they didn't feel like they could be super public about being a member of our organization. Not because there was anything wrong with it, but just because they're trying to be apolitical or whatever. So that's the biggest change. But I will say, like, it has given us an opportunity to look at what we do, why we do it, how we are serving our members, and how we're getting people involved. So majoritymiddle.org/join is where people can go and see the membership program that we've got now, and then some of the stuff we're focused on, and hopefully become a member.
I would hope you do that, because I'm not going to do that. I don't want people to think I'm behind this program. Majority Middle. You know I love having you in the program, Shannon. I absolutely do. MajorityMiddle.org or .com, either one work, right? Still doing that? Okay.
Yes.
I appreciate you, and I bet you this is not what you thought we were going to talk about today when you said you'd be on the show.
You know, I never know what's going to be like. This is the variety pack of my day. So thanks for bringing that.
Appreciate you, Shannon. Shannon